and to which the various entities, as the battle develops, can come and connect up for their communication. The requirements for this were written as early as 1965, and a dedicated project management organization, which was, I think, a very good idea at that time, was formed, called Plan Aaron, set up. And
what does the Plan Aaron stand for?
Area Radio, Army Radio Engineered Network.
Okay.
Army Radio Engineered Network. And these tasks were handed out to the DRDO, Bharat Electronics, and ITI. Quite frankly, we were that time restricted to this, and the credit must go to them, that over a period of time they really came up with whatever was the requirement. A further extension, then there was a necessity that when a field force was likely to move into a specific area of operations, there was a need for a static network also. And this was visualized in 1982-83 when we established a SCON, the static communication.
So you have the AREN and the SCON.
No, this is the SCON. SCON is static,
okay,
to that extent. These nodes were set up, they are set up in the area of your interest.
Okay.
Such that the field formations can come and hook onto them. And they are secure with high capacity.
And they can't be used by the civilians in that area?
No, I am afraid these are again radio networks which
these are dedicated
networks.
General Harpal Singh, signals is all about communications. Are there any other systems which the Corps of Signals has ushered in for the Army?
The Corps has certainly harnessed a number of systems for the benefit of the defense services. The first one is signal intelligence, what you were saying, snooping. So there is a separate organization with the personnel are Corps of Signals who listen into communications of the possible adversaries. And this is not a secret, it's the world over. All armies have, Pakistan has, China has, America has, everybody
So is this different from what is known as the NTRO?
This is a defense organization. Now next is the computers. When the computers came in India early 1960s, the government of India trained some government officials, scientists and all, in which there were a number of signals officers who were trained by the companies which brought in the computers, And General Amajit Singh, one of the pioneers. And then we started the computerization of the army. And we also trained the personnel in our Military College of Telecommunication in Mao in computers up to postgraduate level.
Okay.
So this is the second system that the Corps of Signals brought into.
So that is basically you're preparing for something called the cyber warfare, right?
This is the use of computers.
Okay.
Cyber I'll come to.
Right.
The next is the electronic warfare. Electronic warfare means that you gain information in the field from listening into the enemy's communications and non-communication electronics devices like radars and all that. And then at appropriate time you jam them. That is electronic warfare.
Okay.
Listen in, gain information and then disable them at the opportune moment as per the overall plan. So that again the Corps of Signals had brought in. And last but not the least is the cyber warfare. Now this is a subject which is, now we have been, all three have been out of service for quite some time. This is a classified subject and we are not fully aware of what is going on, but this much is in the news and one can read that the Corps of Signals is definitely involved in this.
So we are keeping ourselves up to date as well as cyber warfare.
Otherwise if you don't keep yourself technologically up to date, you cannot fight modern warfare.
But I think even, we've been reading reports that both India and Pakistan, for example, in our environment, are engaged in some kind of a cyber warfare even in peacetime.
Very right. You have been reading reports that our websites have been defaced and all that.
Yes.
But let me say a very crucial point. In this classified or secret subjects, a nation should not and does not broadcast its capabilities. it does not let the other person, other adversary know what the capabilities are. And when the opportune time comes, these should come as a surprise to the enemy, so that he is absolutely foxed and he is paralyzed.
So I think that's why whatever is happening in Pakistan, I think would be more known here, and whatever is happening here is more known across.
If I can add something to what General
Yes,
Harbhajan has said, this is one subject. I would say, frankly, that the signals cannot be kept out of it. Although the secrecy part is there, like he has said, and we have to keep certain things under the wraps. But signals can never be out of this particular subject, because so far whatever developments have taken place electronically, whether it is information technology or you think of any field, signals will be there, and I have no doubt in my mind that signals will be doing their homework, and they are probably doing their homework well.
Unless, of course, you have somebody like WikiLeaks who comes out and puts them all out in the public domain.
Right. Absolutely, absolutely.
Now, General Sudesh Kumar, Army often gets into situations where they are called in aid of the civil power.
Right.
So, does even the Corps of Signals get into such situations?
Yes, very much. I would like to say with great pride that the Corps of Signals is always prepared for such situations, and they have learnt it over a number of years. And such situations normally are in the form of, either there are floods, sudden floods where their help is needed. Then you have the earthquakes which come up. Then sometimes you have what is called, rescue operations, for which suddenly there is a requirement of communications. You have people who get caught in avalanches. There are landslides where the civilians get trapped, and that is the kind of places where the signals come up. They are ready for it, in fact. They anticipate such requirements because it is bound to happen anywhere.
General Amarjit, talking of the future, what do you think are the shortcomings and the improvements that need to be brought into the Corps of Signals?
Well, as brought out earlier, the Corps of Signals, by the way, has been a very forward-thinking, and so it is accepted by everybody in the defense services. But the recent wars in Iraq and the NATO actions in Afghanistan has established that there is a necessity for a constant upgrading of the systems and gadgetry incorporating the latest electronic techniques. The Corps of Signals and on behalf of the Army will also have to ensure that the need for sharing real-time information for sound decisions is met at different echelons and for the different elements. Now, this would need a tremendous effort of both manpower and financials for the development and the deployment for the state-of-art electronic equipment. Delays do occur, primarily because of bureaucratic caution.
But there is a lot that still needs to be done.
So that is one aspect that we'll have to keep up with.
Though General Harbhajan Singh did explain about cyber warfare, but in your opinion, how well prepared are we for cyber warfare?
Now, this is a personal opinion. As I said, we've been out of
Yes.
service. Personally, I would carry the impression that I think we have to, while making sure that our own systems function well, we do try and deny the systems for exchange of information to the others. I think the Chinese are really very ahead in this thing, and when the Americans so acknowledge it. They have gone to the extent of even creating military units for the purpose, both for deployment in the tactical zones as well as in the strategic areas. So this as such as a caution for our nation, I would say, is an important thing.
So possibly we haven't focused as much as we should have on cyber warfare.
But as I said, maybe there is. Maybe we are doing it, and I am glad if it is so. But as far as Corps of Signals is concerned, one matter of concern that we have is the acute shortage of suitably trained officers.
Suitably trained officers.
Trained officers. Okay. The situation had been mitigated to some extent by starting a cadets wing at our military college of training and this thing, and also we are going to the.
Sorry to interrupt you, but how much would be the shortage in the Corps of Signals?
I think the shortage.
Officer shortage.
again a guess, but I think over 50%.
Oh, is it?
Nearly 50%. Now, and second action that has been taken is that we are going to the colleges and the universities, and this is for the information of the children who may be seeing this program. Regularly, the setup or the set of officers from the recruiting visit the colleges and the universities, engineering colleges and the universities, to pick up and give you a scholarship in your third year or so, with the intention that you will come and join a particular technical arm. To that extent, it has helped a bit. But what I would like to really bring to your notice is that the Corps of Signals was the first to suggest and implement the induction of lady officers, and we possibly have the largest proportion of lady officers in the Corps of Signals.
Maybe to meet the shortage, you need to have more lady officers coming in.
Yes.
General Harbhajan Singh, what is the role that you envisage for the Corps of Signals in the future?
There are two main factors. One is the changes in the nature of warfare, and the other is the induction of new systems, technologies, which are affecting the role of the Corps of Signals. The Corps of Signals was mainly an operating corps, which means that we set up some communications and then manually handle telephone calls, manually process messages and things like that. Now everything, with the induction of computers and all, everything is automated. So the operating role is now diminishing. Our staff officers, commanders, we have an intranet, we have the automatic calls, automatic switching. So that is a very important aspect. From operating, we are now changing gradually to engineering, which means setting up a communication system which the users can exploit, use it. So that is one aspect that is very important. The other is of information warfare, what we have been discussing. This is a very now a factor which is a force multiplier, and no wonder the Chinese are laying so much emphasis on it.
Since you're running out of time, General Harbhajan Singh, a quick answer on how well prepared are we as far as signals are concerned, or signal equipment is concerned, and our capability is concerned vis-a-vis Pakistan and China.
The viewers and Mr. Sandhu, you will be very pleased to know that Corps of Signals is very up to date, as I mentioned earlier. Our communication systems are secure. We have different layers. If something goes wrong with one satellite or something, we have the other means. And we assure our armed forces excellent communication during peace and war, and come to the aid of the nation whenever their emergency arises.
General Sudesh Kumar, before I close, I've been very curious to know, I mean, a quick answer, as I said before I close. Why are signal officers known as sparrows? None of you even remotely look like a sparrow.
Well, I suppose they chirp too much.
Interesting. Thank you, gentlemen. We were discussing the growth and challenges facing the Corps of Signals of the Indian Army. Signals is the eyes and ears of the Army, and it has not only to keep abreast of the latest technology, but adapt it in letter and spirit. That is all in this episode of Defense Line. Do write your feedback. We meet again next week. Till then, good luck and goodbye. And for now, it's time to toast the success of the Corps of Signals.